Alrighty, this is Jake Muller with Ski Tutorials, and in this video I have Dan Shuffleton helping me out.
My name's Dan Shuffleton, and I'm the head free ski coach and program director at the Waterville Valley Ski Academy and BBTS Snow Sports Club.
Before we get going here, I really want to stress the importance of watching this video all the way through and actually applying the skills and techniques that we talk about. A lot of this stuff has been, developed over years and years of training and trial and error, and it's not stuff that's just made up to kind of fill a video. It's really important that you guys actually, apply these skills. Your body is pretty amazing, can actually go through some pretty insane crashes without really getting hurt. Sometimes injury is inevitable, but I think you can drastically minimize your chances of getting hurt if you watch and apply these techniques. All right, one last thing, just a little bit of encouragement for you guys out there. Growing up, I would take some pretty hard slams sometimes and get really discouraged from trying tricks. And in order to progress in this sport, unfortunately, you're going to have to fall sometimes. So just have a positive attitude about it. Get back up and try it again when you're ready. I am by no means telling you to go out there and learn to fall by doing it on purpose. I'm trying to rewire your brain to thinking that there is a proper way to fall that can help minimize your risk of falling and getting injuries. So just know that every single person you see out there that's throwing down big tricks, they've all taken slams before. The best way to progress through the sport though is just to learn from those mistakes and not repeat them. Okay, so I'm going to start going over the very fundamentals of learning how to fall, and I'm going to stress as much as I can how important it is that you guys go to a gym and you pull out some mats and start doing some of these rolls. You might think it looks stupid, you might think it's not cool to do this, worth learning how to do because it can save you so much trouble of getting hurt. So please go to the gym, learn these rolls. It will help you a lot, and the more you do it, the more your body's gonna get used to it, and the more likely you'll be doing it without even thinking about it when you actually fall. These are all simple rolls and simple falls that if you can master now, that'll help you no matter how big and how fast you're going on skis. It's all gonna help. Here's Dan kind of giving the first one for you.
It's called a front save, and it's basically like a reverse push-up. You're going to turn your hands so the webbing of your thumb and forefinger are facing each other. That way your elbow joints work properly. And you're just going to fall forward, stay nice and tight through your core and your hips and your legs to help reduce impact on your body. But you want to let your body hit the ground on this. So it looks like this.
So let's get a little bit more detailed on this. Basically, I'm not going to get into all the physics, but he's got a lot of potential energy stored up in his body. That all has to be released somehow. So when he hits the ground, all that energy is going to be pushed to wherever it hits first. So in this case, he's got his arms out. If he didn't have them out, all that energy would be pushed to his face and he'd end up with a broken nose or something. So you want to make sure all this potential energy is released and dispersed as evenly as possible. And you want to make sure your body parts, when they're releasing the energy, that they're not releasing it in a fashion that makes them contort weird or anything like that. So that's why I talked about having your webbing your fingers pointed a certain way. So as he comes down, if he goes down too fast, only a little bit of energy will be released to his arms. That's why you need to be strong and tight and go down a little slowly and ease your body into it so that more energy is pushed through, which deletes some from here. And so when you do that, you want to go down as slow as you can, but as evenly as you can, so that by the time you hit the ground, your chest only has a tiny bit of force applied on it. So as he comes down, watch how his arms bend really slowly in a normal fashion so that his body barely hits the ground. And that's why it's good to practice on mats, because if you do let down a little bit too fast, there's no consequence really, but on a hard ground, you would notice that it would hurt a little bit. Next roll I'm going to go into is the Misty roll, and this is really important whenever you land going forwards down the hill, but you land leaning too far forward. So that means you're going to have to dive out in front of you. And so what you're going to do is you're going to curve your spine and kind of have all your arms and everything pulled in so that you're like this. So you want to curve spine. You want to have your arms out almost like you have a beach ball, like you're holding a big ball. That way your arms are bent the right way and they're not in any weird position. And you're going to dive forward, and you're going to use the momentum to kind of roll over on your side, and that's going to allow you to kind of stay as far away from injury as possible because your arms are in a normal position. So see how his arms are taking in the energy, then he uses that curve in his arm to roll onto his back, and that's really important anytime you land leaning forward. You really want to make sure your elbows and your arms are all bending in a normal, natural way when you're doing these rolls, because as soon as you start bending them in weird ways, that's where you get hurt. So the whole objective of this video was to show you guys how to fall correctly so that you can decrease your chance of getting hurt when you fall. But to even decrease your chance of falling, it's really important that you guys go to trampoline facilities, you learn your tricks first on the trampoline, then you maybe take it to some type of progression like an airbag or water ramps or something. And all these things really decrease your chances of falling on snow. But if you learn these techniques on how to fall as well in this video, this is kind of like a last resort to where, when you're falling, you have a calculated way of carrying your momentum in your favor down the mountain when you're falling. That way you can really decrease your chances of getting hurt, because not only did you try the trick on a progression setup, but then you learned how to fall. So now you're a lot more likely to be healthy throughout the seasons. It's also important to work out and all that stuff. And I just want to stress the importance of all these things, because I know a lot of skiers that are really talented that injure themselves early on, and those injuries always kind of come back up throughout their careers. So to make it like some sort of subconscious effort, I'm just going to get into a little bit. It's important to always be concerned about how to fall. So even if you're in the park playing soccer or something, when you fall, remember these techniques, do them, practice them when you're conscious. Because the more you do that when you're thinking about it, eventually after hours and hours and hours, your body will start to do them on its own when you're not even thinking about it. And that's the goal. You want to make sure your body subconsciously uses these techniques to fall. That way, it's not something to think about. You're not going to be in the air and be like, how do I fall? Your body's already going to know that, and that's what's important. So that's all the objectives of this video is to help teach you guys. It's always important to commit to your tricks. Always try and land feet first to absorb most of the impact and carry the momentum down the rest of your fall. Okay, so that concludes part 1. I highly suggest you watch part 2. It's going to be all about analyzing ski crashes. Don't forget to follow my Instagram pages and go to skitutorials.com and subscribe.